Go watch some Magic. We got round number 8 of 9 here at the Manatraders series. Let's jump on in.
I just applaud us for coming up with such great options for Manatraders in their time of need.
Exactly. I mean, that's literally all we're trying to do at any point is to just help out, the Manatrader as a company. I think that's only fair.
And that's why they're quadrupling our pay for this event.
Yeah. Man, just imagine if we could just make all these demands on air and it would just work. That'd be sweet. So, top player that we're basically our hero to watch is a Lotus Field deck. This is Casa. I don't know the name of Japanese pro here, Japanese moto player, piloting this deck, and we've been kind of talking about this deck. There's not a lot of copies. 3 in the field.
One of them went 2-4 before Pioneer happened, so it didn't even have a chance.
Yep.
And this looks like a pretty typical list.
And here we go. This is up against Mono Green. Mono Green with Teferi, the pretty much stock list when it comes to that. And got to go first. Huge advantage. Now, Mono Green has one chance and one chance only against these Lotus Field decks, and that is with Karn and going to find either Pithing Needle, Damping Sphere, or the Stonebrain. That's all you should be focusing on green. And to be fair, the most important card is just Karn, get a Damping Sphere, and and then the game's over, which is exactly what's going to happen next turn.
Yeah, that's what we're set up to do. Get up to 6 mana, and that's perfect. So
here's the question: do they play Thespian Stage this turn instead of going for it, or play Lotus Field, lose the game on the spot? And they chose to lose the game on the spot because, I mean, to be fair, Tuscanani only had to have 2 cards to make this happen. Hard Forest, that does it, but both of those had to be here. And now we'll just see if Tuscanani, respects and acknowledges the line that is the most important, which is Damping Sphere by a mile. Like, even if it shuts down your thing, who cares? All of a sudden, Lotus Field is colorless, Thespian Stage is colorless. There's no play Casa can have to this. So,
and Casa's got to be aware that Karn is a big play for these green decks for Damping Sphere, and you only cost yourself 1 mana by playing the Thespian Stage on the previous turn, because it's 2 mana from the lands that are going to stick around, but 3 mana from the Lotus Field and tapping.
You cost yourself a turn, though.
No, because you can. You're gonna have 1 mana.
I guess it's kind of the same. What?
No, it's.
Oh, we went for Pithing Needle instead.
Oh, interesting.
Oof.
So if you keep it around, if you play the stage instead, the very next turn you can play Lotus Field, untap it, and copy with 1 mana floating. This way you can now copy with 2 mana floating.
Yeah.
So if you were to draw Hidden Strings, you'd be in business.
Yeah. But now the game could be over. We have Casa that is able to Vizier to get up to pour over the pages, and then we start checking it out. And I mean, if this game ends in that, great. You got the Boseiju on lockdown. That is cool. But this game could just be over. Unlikely, though.
Yeah.
It is unlikely. Usually you need that one more turn.
And there was a Boseiju in Casa's hand, so if we went for the Damping Sphere, it could have just gotten Boseiju'd it, and you go from there.
Yeah, and granted, that is something that easily could have been there, so it's not as slam dunk of a play as maybe I made it out to be, but there was not a colored source available yet, so it was not possible. And even if you do make that line, most of the time you just Karn for a Pestilence Cauldron, get Damping Sphere back, play it again.
And it looks like we did not find any more ways to net mana, so I think the turn is over, and now Karn can find Damping Sphere with no threat of Boseiju. And that could very well lock up this game.
Yeah, this should be game 1 going to green. And while I do think, this is a good matchup for Lotus Field, especially if Lotus Field's on the play, not unwinnable by any means, because Karn is that good in this matchup.
Now, there are 2 copies of Otawara in the Lotus Field deck, so if we can find a blue source, because currently Lotus Fields aren't going to tap once the Damping Sphere that enters.
Yeah, I mean, now if they don't go for Damping Sphere, they better be going for Stonebrain and trying to hit Emergent Ultimatum. I guess that's the hit, but I mean, all I'm doing here is playing Cavalier and then dropping Damping Sphere for sure, or Storm and then Damping Sphere, whatever I have mana for. Whatever I have mana for, that is a 0 risk scenario.
And with them having 2 Lotus Fields on the battlefield, you have Beseiju covered.
All right, there we go. There we go.
Let's get our Damping Sphere. There's no way we can play the Cavalier here into the Damping Sphere, right?
Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, you play the Forest. You Cavalier first because the Cavalier could get you a land. Yeah. And then if it doesn't, you play Forest, untap it with Kiora, and then play it there. So you could still generate 3 mana here with Cavalier. So realistically, no, you couldn't Storm because you'd have to use one of your Storm targets as a land, and that's frowned upon.
Yeah, so we found a Forest off the Cavalier. We play Forest from hand. Yeah. Now, I guess we could have used Kiora on Nykthos to generate 6 mana, but there's nothing to use the 4 mana floating on. So no reason to waste a loyalty on the Kiora.
Yep, no reason. If we had Oath in play, you could play Teferi.
There's the hidden strings that they needed last turn.
Yeah, hidden strings. Would have did it. So now, we can easily just see Storm the Festival. Now remember, Damping Sphere is a universal effect. So not only does it shut down Nykthos and Lotus Field, but it also, I was thinking that's risky, but it's truly not. But it shuts down the ability to go Oath into spells. So you gotta keep your eye on how much. Now Storm the Festival costs 7. I think we can still cast it. Or cast Cavalier. Either way, Mono Green's gonna be taking this down almost assuredly. But you do gotta make sure you play correctly.
Yeah, I think just casting Cavalier here is good enough because that'll ensure that you have lethal next turn. No reason to take the risk on a Storm.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, play that, attack for 8, say go, have it locked up for next turn. Not a thing that Lotus Field can do.
Yeah, they were really one card away or one, that one hidden strings away.
Looks like they're playing Teferi, not tapping additional mana for Damping Sphere, so I think they're gonna learn a little bit of exactly how it works.
They might learn that their Nykthos doesn't work.
Yeah, that too.
So the way they're playing, it feels like they think their Nykthos is gonna do Nykthos things.
Yeah, agreed.
It taps for colorless. You can pay 2 tap and get colorless too, if you want. I guess if you had exactly 1 devotion, you could pay 2 tap and get green.
Yeah.
Still not advisable.
No.
They do cast the Cavalier. Don't think they've had a land off of that.
Yeah, I think it actually only adds a colorless, even if you Nykthos at any point, so that wouldn't even work. But yeah, all irrelevant.
Yeah, just attack for 9. Got a nice 12-point attack even without animating the Damping Sphere next turn. And there's really, not anything it can do there.
Now, as far as sideboarding, we don't have to worry about mono green, but let's take a look at the sideboard for Lotus Field.
So we've got 3 Pithing Needle that could name Karn.
Yeah, those are coming in. If it hits Karn, put it in.
1 Terra Sunder that can exile Karn or something Karn gets.
Yep, or it hit Damping Sphere, so that's important.
2 Mystical Dispute doesn't seem great. Nope. Path of Peril, a Behold the Multiverse, a Languish, 2 Supreme Verdicts, a Thought Distortion, an Approach of the Second Sun, 2 Zakama Primal Calamity.
Negative Ghost Rider. I like those top 2 cards, or I like those top 3 cards, or just 2 cards, Pithing Needles and Tear Under, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think we just want to stop there. Limited means of interaction, because it's not like you're worrying about sideboard cards. This is 15 one-ofs, all targets for Karn in the mono green sideboard.
Yeah, absolutely.
15 artifacts. Look at this weird black one. I don't know how they cast that.
Yeah, I don't know how they cast that. Pestilence Cauldron. Yeah, I don't think that's the main reason of that one.
What if my Karn could wish for a double regrowth?
Yeah, and gain you some life. Yeah, a lot of targets. So I've been playing Golgari Devotion, where I actually have 4 cards I bring in. So I had to cut the 4 most unnecessary cards that I thought. And I ended up going with Woodcaller Automaton, because it always felt win more to me. I would just always search for something bigger. Godpharaoh Statue, I cut that. Transmogrifying Wand, and Bankbuster. Those were the cards I deemed unnecessary, but every other thing is very, very important when it comes to this deck.
I wonder if we want to cut this Nicol Bolas for something that would be better to draw, like a Woodcaller Automaton.
Yeah, Woodcaller Automaton I think is the only card you really want to draw. But, I actually think the Nicol Bolas is the one card you do not want to cut. Because if you got a Pithing Needle on Karn and then you play Nicol Bolas, you can Karn. which is pretty nice. That's one way to sneak around Needle.
Okay. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, that one's nice. But the Teferi, on the other hand, that's a little unnecessary. But basically, the game plan for Mono Green, be as fast as possible. Keep only fast hands. Don't care if you just have like 3 old girl trolls and a forest, and then 3 lands. That's probably not good enough. Even though that's normally not a bad hand, it's just not good enough.
Oh, definitely. This is definitely a matchup that tests how disciplined you are in your mulliganing. Don't keep medium hands. They're going to punish you every time. Lotus Field deck is very consistent. And you need to either disrupt them or kill them by turn 4.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, here we go. Game number 2. Both players are 1 win away from making that top 8.
1 win. Apparently the Beseiju is face up, which is why the needle came.
No, we knew that, but
yeah,
they wouldn't have had green to cast it.
Potentially not.
Potentially, yeah.
You could always is once the Lotus Field's in play, it would take them 2 turns to Thespian stage a forest. If that was their path.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so getting into this here, that is a no-lander, so I imagine we're going to send that one back, or was sent back, and the hand reader is delayed just a little bit.
We're looking at a 5-card hand from Toscanini, so very disciplined in their mulliganing, going down to 5. Do they have the elf? Nope. Looks like a solid hand. Hope Tender is a very good one in this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Very explosive card. That's a new addition to these Lotus Field decks that really takes advantage of low removal matchups.
Yeah. Yeah, untapping, not only excellent, just that top ability to untap Lotus Field, but then if you can ever just exert it and untap 2, like all of a sudden you're just getting an absurd amount of mana advantage.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to cast a Behold the Multiverse here.
All right, very nice. There is some weird scenarios where when you really think you can combo off, that like next turn Casa could play Lotus Field number 2 and like exert and untap them both. It's one way to gain a bunch of mana for 1 turn if you have like no other play. Yeah. Highly doubt we're going to see that here, but one thing that could happen is Thespian stage and then exert there.
We could see that exert this turn.
Yeah. And on lands that, you're not just getting rid of your cards right away.
Yeah, on 2 Lotus Fields, so that would get Kaza up to 6 mana for this turn. Would see what they could do with it. Hidden Strings or a 4 of the pages could get things going from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. There's the exert.
Could also go just like Masterminds, Acquisition into Behold, but yeah, not knowing Impulse, I think you just automatically just do that and Behold.
Well, the Behold's gone. That got cast the previous turn.
Oh, okay. It's just not cut up. Got it.
Yep. There's a Lotus Field in the stage that shouldn't be there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we know
chatting up Chain in the chat. Shout out to you, buddy. Tough run.
We know second Lotus Field and the Acquisition is there.
Okay.
This is just a bunch of impulses. They're going to need a Hidden Strings to keep going.
Okay. There is a Needle though, and there is also a Hidden Strings. So you can either keep going or just kind of give up for this turn, Pithing Needle Karn, and just say, okay, what are you going to do? Like what's your next turn going to be where I'm actually afraid? You're not afraid of Cavalier. You're not afraid of Old Girl Troll. There's nothing you're afraid of at that point. I would almost like doing that and then just win the next turn.
Well, you're going to have a harder time winning the next turn without the Hope Tender, because that got exerted.
Oh, it did get exerted?
Yeah.
Okay, but I
still think
it is.
Can we zoom in on Hidden Strings? Hidden Strings is any permanent, right?
I don't think you can, but it is any permanent.
Yeah, so we can untap Hope Tender with Hidden Strings.
Yeah, you can untap Hope Tender, and you can also do the channel or hidden stringy ability, whatever the second ability of it is, where you can cipher and like attack with it.
There's a second hidden string, so yeah.
Well, if there's a second one, you win right now, right?
So that would let us just
target both lands or that and that. Yeah, we're going for it because I think you can summon a way to emerge an ultimatum right now.
Yeah, I think we should be good to go.
I would think so. Now you just got to make sure you do it in such a way that you're making sure that you can cast Emergent Ultimatum, because this game's over once you cast that card.
Yeah. Now we go make blue mana,
hidden strings on
Lotus Field, and Tender.
Wow, Hope Tender is pretty good against green. Holy crap!
Yeah.
This is why I play Golgari, so I can kill cards like that. Just kidding. I don't bring them in anyways in this matchup, so it's just going to work.
Yeah, they only have 2 Hope Tenders, and it's like the only card you care about killing, so how much removal can you leave in? And then the games where they have it, you're just like, ugh.
I thought Fading Hope was a different Magic card, but it seems like all the hope is fading here.
They're keeping it alive. They're tending to the hope.
Okay. I like it.
They're just only working for one side.
Okay. So now we're deciding. It looks like we're masterminding acquisition.
Yeah. I think they're just planning out the turn from here.
Yes, planning out the mana. You have to plan out the mana. And there we go. So that's that. So there's the blue. Now if you hidden strings, then you have 2 blue left in your pool. You can hidden strings on the 2 Lotus fields. That's green, 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 black, black, black. Cast it, win. That seems even more complicated. It does add more mana. It's just more fail rate.
So you make black here. Then you untap, you have 2 black, 2 blue, untap both fields, tap for green. Now you have a Lotus field untapped, and you cast Emergent Ultimate.
Or here's blue. Is that wrong,
though? They can do that too. They can just make black, green after. It just depends on what they want to have floating.
Gotcha. So now you can also needle for card just in case the game doesn't somehow end this turn.
This leaves them blue, blue, black instead of a Lotus field, which is 3 of any.
Yeah.
Maybe they prefer to have both colors floating.
Who knows? Either way. All right, Ross, what do we get? You got your Lotus field test.
So it's usually Omniscience, Dark Petition, and Leer, right?
Yeah, I think that would make sense to me. Or I know that other 7-drop is in there. Behold the Beyond. That's one of the ingredients.
They went for Omniscience, Dark Petition.
Look at you. Good for you. Yeah, I think Beyond the Behold. I don't even remember exactly what this card does, but I've seen it in a lot of piles.
Discard your hand, then triple Demonic Tutor.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that one will do just well.
That will do indeed. You get 2 of those. I'm gonna GG that up. And all you have to do when you've comboed like this for Leer to be a card that wins you the game is just have 2 mana available and hidden strings in your yard. So far we've just seen 2 complete beatings. But to be fair, they were both games where Casa was on the play, and our mono green player has not had that chance. There are draws, surprisingly, where I think mono green can basically beat Lotus Field combo when they're on the play. That can't really. I'm gonna put this in air quotes because there is some combination of like having Besage you when you need it into the nuts perfect from Lotus Field, where I think Lotus Field could beat the nuts of mono green on the play.
Yeah,
and it involves unbeatable Grazer almost every time. It might involve that like pretty much any time to be able to keep pace with mono green when it's on the play. And Adrian, maybe we'll close that window if you don't mind.
I think with mono green on the play, you're right. A Grazer will probably be necessary. If
there's unbeatable Grazer. The hand is very beatable. That hand is extremely beatable.
That's more of the beatable Grazer variety. Well, on the mulligan, they've got Grazer. I do not see any way to find a Lotus field, though.
Down to 5.
It looks like we're not.
Oh, that was their 5. Yeah, I mean, you got to keep it. But wow, that hand is awful. And if that's the best you can do on 5, like.
And they've got
Thespian stage is good. Temple, now we're looking for Sylvan Scrying. We're looking for our card, but
no second land.
But you do have Oath, so this is fine. Yeah. So if you draw the land, you have the Stone Cold Nuts from green.
Yeah.
Kiora on top Elf is great.
And even if a land here would still be fine.
Oh yeah, there's no way, shape, or form that is a mulligan. But this is a hand that can be beat because it does not contain Karn. It doesn't have any of these draws that like right now, if there was land Karn, I do not think Casa has a chance. But since this is just Elves and Storm the Festivals and all your normal goods for mono green, it's beatable. But of course, Casa has to draw the namesake card. Otherwise, this is not a chance.
Well, here's Cavalier because we don't have a land drop for the Storm. So
Yep.
this finds Nykthos. I think will be no Nykthos.
But yeah, this realistically, this is a turn 3 Cavalier. Maybe it was turn 3 Cavalier. Yeah. Normally that's excellent, but this is not necessarily the match where a turn 3 Cavalier not finding Nykthos is really going to be good enough.
Yeah, and still not much going on here for Kaza. We don't know what they drew for turn. They play their Thespian stage, but the cards that we know of, none of them do anything or are castable.
Yeah.
There's a Teferi. Doesn't do a whole lot. I think we'll just see a Storm here.
Kane would have won this game if he didn't get so unlucky in that match where he was piloting the best deck in the whole tournament. I'm just kidding. Casa is doing absolutely everything they have available to him. We just want to keep giving Breach love because we're sad that we're not going to see it tomorrow.
Very sad.
Very sad. All right, storm it up.
Sad. Storm and Norman. What did we have? Well, there's a Karn and a Nykthos.
There's a Karn, burrito. So now you search, and this is a good spot where you do get that needle. I like it here. Name Thespian stage while there's nothing to really search for.
Or just name the Beseiju.
Yeah, that's true too. Maybe it's just always Beseiju,
Yeah. You're not really in any danger of dying here. It doesn't seem like, even if they have a Lotus field.
Yeah. And maybe this is the safer play to be doing all the time, even though I know Tuscanani, the way the hands worked out last time and the way that this can totally just work out from time to time. Tuscanani gave them an extra turn where they could have comboed where it wasn't Damping Sphere. But maybe for safety, this is just what you always should be doing. Needle into Sphere. Quite possible.
They did name Thespian stage on that needle, and there's Terra Sunder. That must have been the card drawn. So now we have a Beseiju in hand for the upcoming Damping Sphere.
Yep.
That could offer Kaza a way into this game if they can find a Lotus field.
So the one thing with that is Terra Under does exile it, so Karn can go search for that needle again if need be.
A downside for Terra Sunder. Why aren't you naturalized?
Yeah. But to be fair, then Karn can go search for Pestilence Cauldron, bring it back, and then play it again. So it doesn't matter. Unless you put in the extra exile zone. All right, but actually the game's just over. Green wins. This is game.
So we've got the Kiora here getting us up to 8 devotion.
Yeah, Kiora gets you here. You can go for Chain Veil here from Karn. Kiora twice your lands, then you can Teferi your lands, and Teferi plus Chain Veil is infinite life in non-Magic Online works, but infinite life here doesn't really, I guess, do it, right?
Looks like we went for a Storm in the festival.
Yeah, but we're not done yet. Kiora can untap Nykthos after this. Yep.
We found another Nykthos and a Nicol, so that doesn't help our devotion.
Yeah, but it's still lethal if they truly see it here, because now
the Nicol can also keep untapping Nykthos.
Yeah, it can untap Nykthos or it can activate Karn, which is the thing you need. So you activate Nykthos, untap Nykthos, add more mana, go get Chain Veil, activate that 2 or 3 times, so that even if your Planeswalkers go away, you can tick up Karn to 2, down to 0, gets Pestilence Cauldron, bring back Karn, kind of do this again. And with these lists, you don't win by sacking like Ugin's Nexus. I mean, this is the Golgari version.
If we go for Chain Veil and Chain Veil gets Beseju'd, what happens?
Good question.
Bad things, right?
No.
Not fun things?
No, it doesn't matter. Because you Chain Veil once, that ability will still trigger, and then you just Karn for Pestilence Cauldron, bring Chain Veil back, as well as another Planeswalker or whatever.
We have enough mana for that.
Yes.
Ooh, we're
on the Nykthos. I think that is the only way that this game maybe doesn't end, to be fair. Like, I think that was extremely smart on Casa.
That'll play.
Yep, that'll play.
But now we can just Karn for Damping Sphere.
Yep.
We do have Bally get Recovery.
You can also Karn for God's Pharaoh Statue if you're going to end your turn and just say good luck. God's Pharaoh Statue is another one that is nearly impossible to get through. Damping Sphere is better when there's already Lotus Field on the battlefield because it colds them. But here's not a bad time for statue. Looking at other topic, you can also get the Stone Brain and go just take their emergent ultimatums. You can go take their Lotus Fields. You know, you just do whatever you want here, basically. You got lethal in like 9 different ways. Well, all right, we still have 4 mana. I wouldn't mind Stone Braining for the oh, never mind. Oh, they're dead again. They tried. They tried.
Tried so hard. So hard. They got so far.
But in the end, honestly, it just doesn't really matter when you have this much going on, you know? All right, there's the Veil of the Chain variety. Whenever you have 10 mana plus, you can always play Chain Veil, activate, use that extra Kiora activation to activate Nykthos. Kiora hasn't even activated once yet, though, so you can Kiora once on the Chain Veil, once on Nykthos, and then, you know, you can do it again.
Is our Teferi activated?
It's activated once. So you're going to activate Chain Veil, then it can activate a second time. And you can gain enough life where you will eventually win the game by Pestilence Cauldron and just hard casting it after you've gained enough life. Yeah. And you keep on tapping it with Kiora, and you just mill them, mill them, mill them, mill them. And then you say go when they have no library.
And your Nicol Balls gives you black devotion, so you can make black mana with Nykthos.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Or there is the way to get it. These decks have Reckoner Bank Busters. Yeah, sure. that creates one treasure. I always played the Treasure Vault. So you just go get Treasure Vault, you sack, get a couple treasures, and you go with that. And it's also a land, but yeah. Either way, impressive stuff. That is normally a pretty bad matchup, especially, you know, we're hearing in the chat from the Lotus Field Master himself. Kane, that postpartum gets even worse. I believe it. Yeah. You bring in that many Needles. Needle is a scary card against green in that matchup because the creatures don't win.